Some years ago, as I neared my high school graduation, what did I know? With a life ahead full of expectation. Where did the years go? Where did the years go? Don't know. Some years ago, took a part-time job at a radio station. I came to know that life would be my education. Where did the years go? Where did the years go? Don't know. Seems like only yesterday I was a child without a care. Then came my teens and on to other things, and day by day my life rolled by. That's why you can't live your life, make amends, take a chance, try to leave things somewhat better if you can. That's why you can't keep your friends close at hand. Realize nothing's meant to last forever, so enjoy what you have. Some years ago, with a wife I loved and my dreams before me. Some years ago, with a new address and a brand new story. Where did the years go? Where did the years go? Don't know. Seems like only yesterday I was a child without a care. At 17, moved on to better things, and day by day my life rolled by. That's why you can't live your life, make amends, take a chance, try to leave things somewhat better if you can. That's why you can't keep your friends close at hand. Realize nothing's meant to last forever, so enjoy what you have. That's why you can't live your life, make amends, take a chance, try to leave things somewhat better if you can. That's why you can't keep your friends close at hand. Realize nothing's meant to last forever, so enjoy what you have. Ooh, dance while you can. Dance while you can.
Welcome to the Arthropologist. Today I've got a good friend of mine, Don Jacobs, who is a fantastic artist, and I really didn't realize what an amazing singer-songwriter he was. And so we're going to get right into the show, and I want Don to tell us a little bit about himself, and then we'll just go in whatever direction he wants to talk about. So welcome to the show, Don.
Great, thanks. Glad to be here.
Okay, now, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've got in your biography that you were, I guess, born in Brookhaven, Mississippi.
Actually born in New Hampshire.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's a big difference. But did you grow up in Brookhaven?
Yeah, we moved from New Hampshire to Ohio to Florida and moved to Mississippi when I was 8. So I've grown up here. Yes. So I'm
okay.
Mississippi.
Okay,
Yeah,
and you went to Europe and studied art for, did I read correctly, for something like 10 years?
About 8 years. For most of the 70s. Yeah, I was over there.
And where did you focus? What country, and what brought you to that particular area and study?
I had it's a long story, but to try to shorten it a little bit, I had gone to Belhaven for a year for my freshman year, and I got I thought I was on the verge of getting drafted for Vietnam, And so I decided I was going to have one last summer to blow it out before joining the Navy, and got a summer job in Germany through my German teacher. And that was pretty much it. Once I was over there, I just fell in love with the place, and had a series of back and forths, but eventually went over there and just stayed, and then just met a girl and was ready to settle down. And so I went to school for graphic design.
Okay. And
right in Frankfurt, Germany. Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, the way I was introduced to your work, for the most part, was, I don't want to get off of myself very much, but I was the artist in residence at the Mississippi Governor's Mansion for about 3.5 years. I did a book
Mm-hmm.
with the governor, and one of the rooms, I painted every room in the mansion. And one of the rooms that I painted was the conference room, and you've got this amazing mural in there. And I want you to just tell us a little bit about your murals, your technique, just what you do. And as you're talking, I'm actually going to share screen because I've got photographs of some of them, and you can talk about a little bit about them as we go through it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's see how to make this started. I used to paint, or rather draw. Okay, this is a Tate Taylor, the director for The Help. He did this is a later mural that came up for Tate Taylor, who was the director of The Help. He bought an old plantation house in Churchill, Mississippi, outside of Natchez, and had seen my mural in the governor's mansion and wanted me to come over and do a mural for him. So you can see that on the right of this picture, there's a church, which is Churchill is a little tiny community which consists of a church and a general store, and that's what's on the right side. But basically, I went all around the room and did sort of local scenery, and then this is a view of artist's conception of Natchez under the hill back in the 1800s.
I wanted to point out one thing that, especially for young artists to admire about your work and to pay attention to, even though it looks so almost photorealistic.
Mm-hmm.
If you zoom in on those waves, they are just individual strokes, very loose, very nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the way you do most of these big murals.
Yeah, when you're working on a large scale, it always looks more realistic from a distance. It all just kind of comes together in the eye,
but it's not overly rendered. It's not beaten to death. You haven't just
mm-hmm.
blended everything to just this smooth, lifeless math.
Yeah.
It's just really got a lot of life to it.
Good, thank you. I can blend it to death, but which is something I like. I enjoy doing when I can get that gradual fade from dark to light is just something I really like. But yeah, the water, for example, is just stroke after stroke after stroke. And
I wanted to ask you something technically. Okay, we're looking at the staircase, and
okay, this is Sam and Mary Haskell's foyer in Oxford, Mississippi. But go ahead.
Okay, beautiful painting. Now, a couple of things from a technical aspect that I wanted to ask about. The curvature on the wall, and you've got another staircase, I believe, that had a really heavy curvature. Were you having to make a lot of compensations with your perspective, or was it not really a problem when you were working on these curved surfaces?
It really wasn't a problem. What was interesting is, I think the next picture probably shows this view from above. From this direct on view, the road in front of the big house there looked really curved, but when you look at it from above and with that curvature on it, the road straightens out, which is just an optical illusion. But
Okay.
anyway, that was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah.
Um,
And, I had sent you a question asking about if it was a challenge to integrate your work into uh, rooms like this. And what I was getting at was that, like, in this particular instance, you've got going back, you've got sort of a triangular uh, composition on the upper left and on the lower
yeah.
right as well. But then you've got the arched doorway or arched entranceway. You've got another door. So is that a challenge, or do you even think about it at all when you see a blank slate like this where you've got different uh, unique compositional layouts? Does your mind just go to it and it's not a problem, or do you actually sometimes have to really think about, well, now what am I going to put here because it's such an odd shape?
Yeah, I have to work with that. You can't really tell it on here, but there is a tree at at the top of the stairs, and you can't really see it. If you look closely, the tree comes all the way down into the bottom picture.
Does it show on this
Can,
one?
can Yeah, it shows, but I don't know if you can actually
Yeah.
see it. There's a light switch there, but anyway, that was sort of my way of bringing the two pictures, tying the two pictures together.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, that was sort of irrelevant, but
Well,
anyway, yeah, it's just you got to be able to fit the picture, the composition into the shape of the wall, and I had some strange shapes here, so yeah, that was a challenge. Yeah.
what is it that attracts you to these great big wall? This, of course, is in the governor's mansion, the
Yeah.
conference room. But what is it that attracts you? Some people will be very intimidated by, I mean, my goodness, I think you're working on 30 by 40 feet and even bigger, but that doesn't seem to intimidate you at all.
Well, my story with this one is that I was all excited about getting this commission, and then the first day I walked in there into the conference room, and it was just beige walls, and I thought, oh my God, what have I gotten in? What was I thinking? How am I going to do this? And it was a little scary, needless to say. And here I was at the governor's mansion, and I told him I could do this. But a day at a time, it gradually came together, and it got a lot more involved than anyone had anticipated. I had a great time, as you probably experienced too, working there. I spent about 4 months doing this job, and I ate wonderfully. Louis Bruno was the chef at the time, and I put on almost 10 pounds in the process. But
Yeah, I loved working at the governor's mansion. I enjoyed doing the book with the governor so much, and it was a, a privilege, but also a little intimidating when I would go from room to room painting the different, doing a plein air painting of each room. And when I came in here, there's such a beautiful painting on the wall. It's like, I got to get this right because I got to do Don justice. And I hope I did. But
Yeah.
it was one of my favorite things to do.
Well, it always seemed you had told me about you were going to be doing this, and I was really curious to see how you would do it, because to paint a painting within a painting, got to be quite a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you about this Cherokee Alley. I am a huge fan of fonts. I've just always loved fonts, and you being trained as a graphic designer, I'm sure your knowledge is just voluminous. Let me ask you, are these fonts that you just use that had already been created, or have you altered them somewhat or created them out of scratch from scratch?
The Cherokee is sort of a mixture of a couple things. I went, in order to get that upward curve on Cherokee, I I had to redraw some fonts and really work around it. The C I found somewhere that I like that. But yeah, otherwise, this is something I got into for a while, sort of trying to get away from all the monochromatic stuff and get a little more colorful. And I like old timey fonts. I think
Are
they're very
you
interesting.
are you a fan of like the 19th century book designers and Alphonse Mucha and that
Well, yeah, I'm real big on Art Nouveau and Art Deco. I particularly like those styles, so I've sort of tried to incorporate that into my work.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump over real quick and show everybody your guitars. Tell everybody about,
Mhm.
you do guitars. We're going to see a piano in a second. It's just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. This is something I've got a friend out from originally from Brookhaven named Ed Tree. He is producer, studio musician, technician out in Los Angeles. Has played with Rita Coolidge for about 6 years. Played with Spencer Davis for over 25 years. He's a really good guitar player, needless to say. He had done me a favor and said that he was interested in a painted guitar. So um, so that was how I sort of paid him back in part, and did a Mississippi guitar, um, sort of based on the blues. And anyway, I had such a good. It was such fun to do that, particularly as a musician, a part-time musician, that I had other requests for more guitars, and I'm looking for more. I mean, I've got 2 commissions that I'm about to get started on now. This is the Mississippi guitar for Ed Tree, um, based on old postcards. And then this is something I did down. This is a street piano down in Brookhaven, on the theme of Rocket Man. Um, this is in this time of year sits outside in Brookhaven for the public to sit down and just play on.
Well, I will
But
tell you, I wish I had photographs even of the sides, because I remember maybe I was on Facebook and saw maybe the top, the sides. I mean, this thing is
yeah,
just so rich with detail. It's just beautiful. I was just blown away. It's
thank you.
one of the finest pieces of graphic art that I have seen. I just love it.
Thank you. This was a treat. This sat out in my garage for a month or 2 while I worked on it, but it turned out really well. Yeah, I was really pleased with this. This is a friend in Brookhaven, Blake Scapadel, had seen my guitars, and he's a piano player, so he asked if I would be interested in doing a piano, and I just thought, yeah, that would be sounds
Are,
great.
are any of these a special paint, or is it just acrylic paints, or
It's just acrylic, yeah,
and
and
you have
then
to
a
sort
lot
of
of varnish.
do you have to strip the guitars and everything down a bit and sand them up to make them real
Yeah,
receptive?
I generally sand them down to the wood and then put gesso on them and then paint on top of that. Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's see. Uh, tell me just a little bit about, it looks like a blues series. Are these painted, or are they silk screens, or?
Yeah, this is something I'm getting myself into gradually. One constantly has to reinvent oneself to make money as an artist, and I kind of burned out on the monochromatic realism and decided I wanted to try something else. And I got a commission to do a electric box downtown on Capitol Street in Jackson, um, with a musician theme. And I did one of Bo Diddley, and I just had so much fun doing it that I started. When I finished that, I came home and started playing around with different blues musicians. So this is what I call my blues series.
So are these acrylic as well?
These are acrylic, yeah. Um, acrylic on board on wood.
Love your color. You boy, when you broke out of being monochromatic, you really went in and
I exploded color-wise.
yeah, yeah, but it's really well done.
Thank you.
It's not just sort of an explosion of color that makes no sense. I mean, these all have a really a great tonal sense and a great understanding of color relationship.
Thanks. Yeah, I've gotten really got into sort of blue greens and yellows and reds, and yeah, they work well together.
Okay, well now I know you were especially wanting to talk about your music. At the beginning of this video, everyone will have heard your song, and oh, tell me the name of it again because I'm
Dance While You Can.
yes, Dance While You Can. And for those of us who are sort of starting to push 60, 70 and so forth, we can appreciate that. Now, tell me, these covers to these albums, are these ones that you've designed? Are these covers to your albums?
Yes, yeah. I'm about to self-release my third album, called Meanwhile Back at the Ranch, which Dance While You Can is one of the songs on that. Let's see, I lost my train of thought there.
That's all right. Well, here we are. Here's the cover right here.
Yeah, this is the proposed cover for Meanwhile Back at the Ranch, and I'm just about finished with it. I hope to have it out sometime in July. But it's 14 original songs that I've been fascinated with songwriting since the Beatles came on the scene, and have played with it off and on for years. It starts out slowly, but gradually with time, the songs get a little better. And I think I've got some pretty good stuff.
And are all these songs original that you wrote?
Yeah, I either wrote them or co-wrote them. I've got a Scottish friend who I knew in Germany when I lived there. He and I used to write together and play in pubs and that sort of thing. And so he and I have written for years.
When you're writing music, do you hear a tune in your head, or first of all, do you write
normally?
Well,
yeah, normally I'll just sit out and play around on guitar, and usually just go through different chords, and then a lot of it, sometimes it's a mistake, but I'll hear something that I like, and then I'll just work with that. In recent years, I've gotten to where a lot of times I will wake up in the morning and have a tune in my head, and if I like it, I'll run in and record it real quick for reference, and then go back and start working on it. But
I'm fascinated. There are quite a few artists that are really good as an artist, but they're also very good musicians. And I'm curious, do you consider yourself an artist first or a musician first, or is it 50-50, or depends on which way the wind's blowing?
Yeah, I think my real love is the music, but I think I'm better at art. I was a singer in a band in high school, and so I never really mastered guitar or keyboards, but I was able to sing, and wanted to write music. So I played enough guitar or keyboards to get by on my own. But
well, is there something about music that you feel like you can express something in your heart either more or different, or is it just a different form of expression
it's really just a different form of expression, but there's something fascinating about being able to record and have a completed song. It's a whole different thing from having a completed painting. So on some level, it's just more gratifying. But yeah, somebody asked me once. I mean, I went to art school kind of as a backup. In my early 20s, I wanted to be a rock and roll star, and I figured that was a little iffy. So art seemed like a good backup, and but if I had my choice, I'd prefer to do music, I think. But if I did music full time, then I'd want to paint in the background. So
Yeah, probably.
You know, the art is the job, and so that it becomes a job at times. It's not always pleasurable. It's just sometimes you just gotta do it, you know. But
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that when I talk to young people who really want to be an artist or think they do, I always try to point out to them that, you know, it's fine and I love it, and all of my friends that are artists love it, but it's a job. You know, you got to get up and go to work, and you go through the same hassles that anyone else goes through when they go to work.
And you don't always get to do what you want. You're dependent on the client if you're doing commissions, and if they don't like something, then you're at their mercy. I mean, you've got to do what they want to see, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And which is fine, because it's just one job. And, you know, if you do it the way they want to and you're not totally pleased, well, okay, you earned some money, you improved your skills, now move on, go to the next one.
Well, and sometimes it's I've had situations where it almost hurt to have to go with what they wanted, but I did it, and it usually in the end kind of broadened my horizon. So and that's one thing in doing murals, that it's given me the opportunity to do things that I would not have otherwise done on my own.
Right. Now,
so that's a positive spin on it. Yeah.
I saw that you are longtime producer of an annual music event. I'm reading off something you sent me, held in his hometown of Brookhaven, Mississippi, Brookstock. Tell me about that. Tell us what's going on with that.
This started as we had our 30th class reunion, and I was on the planning committee, and we were looking for inexpensive entertainment, and I suggested maybe getting my old high school band together for our party. The other band members agreed, and so we got together and played for the first time in 30 years, and everybody had the remaining band members that were still playing music had improved, and we had such a good time that we had an absolute blast, and we decided we should do this more often. And so this evolved into me organizing the next party where we could play. And then one year after we'd done this, about 2 years, Ed Tree from Los Angeles was going to be in town that weekend. So I cooked up an idea to get him to get his old band together and compete against our band as like a battle of the bands, which changed the whole thing from our band throwing a party to lots of different musicians. So it was dubbed as Brookstock because we had 4 or 5 bands, and because Ed had not played in Brookhaven in about 30 years. All the local musicians came out and wanted to hear him, and we had a good crowd and a good time. And so I just kept producing it. We're now in our 20th year. I've been doing it since 2001.
Okay, and that's each summer.
Yeah, we have just canceled it for this summer because of the coronavirus, but we'll do it next summer.
Okay, well, we've got just a few minutes left in the show, and before we go, I wanted you just to very quickly address, has COVID affected you very strongly?
No, ironically, I've been busier than usual with it. My life hasn't changed that much because I'm used to working at home by myself pretty much. So, I mean, I'll be really glad when this is all over, but it sounds like it's going to be a while, but it's pretty isolating. But it really hasn't affected me like it has some people. I'm not out of work and trying to feed a family, and I really feel for those people. Luckily, I'm not in that boat. So
Right, right.
it's not been too bad.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. Well, let me bring you back on. We'll be on the screen for a second.
Mhm.
Tell everyone your website, your Facebook. I will post it, but tell everyone how to get in touch with you if they wanted to commission something or have you play.
Um, my website is www.donjacobs.net. Anybody can reach me there. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook music page. I tend not to. I've got so many friends on there right now that I'm little reluctant to accept friends just because then I get kitten videos and really I'm inundated with those. And but anybody can friend me on Don Jacobs music page on Facebook. I'm glad to take you there. But yeah, we also have a Brookstock page. Excuse me. Which with anybody interested in Brookstock can go there and become sign on and be a follower, and you get all the information on when Brookstock is and so forth. So,
All right. Well, thank you, Don. Like I said, I love your work. I enjoy your music, and I just wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you. Same
All
to
right.
you.
All right. Well, I'm Bill Wilson, and I'm the Arthropologist. If you've enjoyed this episode of The Arthropologist, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more episodes like this, think about subscribing. I'm Bill Wilson, and I'm the Arthropologist.